All right. We are the independent 88.5 FM here in Southern California. My name is Mark, or Mookie if you prefer. Either one will do. It's a here at home artist interview. We started the series pretty early on during the pandemic, and it's been really fascinating to see how artists live, whether it's their home studios or their bedrooms or wherever. We got Max and Tom from Gang of Youths in the Zoom room today. Gentlemen, how are you today? And thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks for having us, Mark. Yeah, very well, thanks.
We're good, bro. Nice to meet you.
Good. Max, are you guys both in London?
Yeah, we're Tom's native London. We're here. I'm from New Zealand, but have lived here for a long time. And yes, we're both. Tom's actually about 500 meters that way.
I love that.
The mark before we recorded.
Refuse to conduct any interview in the same place.
The contract that holds us together specifies that we can't be within 100 feet of each other except for on stage.
I see you guys get along that well, huh?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He's actually only played 4 shows and already sick of him, but no. He's actually played our band, so.
Tom is the newest member of the band Gang of Youths. It had been said that most of the band had moved out to London and lived together right around 2017. Is that the case? And what could that do for a band? Did it build camaraderie and brotherhood, if you will?
I think it did, bro. Like I think we'd already kind of done a lot of that building from years of touring, but. I don't know. It's probably just it was neat. All the girls live with us too, so they all got to know each other super well. And we had a massive 6-bed house in Angel in central London. But yeah, no, it was good, bro. Like there was ups and downs. It was like basically every single human, known to man, lived on our couch at some point. So it was an interesting vibe. But I think overall good. Like I think some bands wouldn't have worked. I think we kind of have known each other for so long and kind of just rolled out. I actually kind of missed it when it ended, but also thank God that it ended.
I hear you. Well, I've been telling our listeners that this particular band has a knack for writing a tremendous rock and roll song. There's a song that Gang of Youths put out a few years back called The Heart is a Muscle, which we will be playing on the radio probably forever. As soon as it came out, I called it an instant indie rock classic. Gangofyouths.com is the website. People could go and look up some stuff. There are some previous records like The Positions, Go Farther, and Lightness, the EP, Let Me Be Clear. And now we've heard this 3-song EP called Total Serene, basically stomping out of the gates with the song The Angel of 8th Avenue, which sounds great on our radio station. Tom, the newest member of the band, you came from where, and how are you fitting in so far?
Well, I met these fellas, the Gang of Youth boys, last year, 2 years ago now, before lockdown and all that, when they were actually supporting Mumford & Sons on a US and a European tour, and I was playing violin with the Mumford & Sons a lot for, I think it was almost 5 years now. It's quite a while. Before that, I was a member of a band called Noah and the Whale. Don't know if you're familiar, if they got over to that part of. We did gigs in LA, so you might.
Yeah.
So it's been a funny old couple of years, obviously, given the worldwide pandemic that we've all been through. But we got a couple of shows under the belt early last year. Which were amazing. I mean, one of them was actually a small show in London, and the other was a huge show in Melbourne for the bushfire relief of all things at that point.
Right.
And since then we've just sort of been burrowed away in the studio, working on stuff. And so glad to have actually, that I'm on a release that's come out with that EP, which is awesome.
Now, you guys are accomplished musicians. You've kind of been there, done that at this point. Do you still get the sense of excitement to put out some new material to the world? Or are you just old, jaded musicians at this point?
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, dude. I think if with 2 years of trying to make something that was like pretty good to release. But I think like from my perspective, Tom is completely like, we had this giant 6'4" Fijian man playing guitar, remains one of our best friends, who I love. And yeah, but like not the sort of person you can replace. And what's so neat about Tom is we haven't replaced Chotch. Like Tom is his own thing, his own genius. And so he's kind of come in and everyone's kind of moved into we've kind of evolved with Tom. Like it's a totally different band, to be honest.
Yeah, incredible.
The sound is different, and Tom's better than all of us. So he's brought a new life to it. He's a shit bloke, but he's a good musician. So he's brought that, and yeah. So I think that's been the neat thing. Like, hey Tom, like you've had 2 years to kind of, you thought you were sailing into this awesome thing, and then it was just like. And you've had
I mean, yeah. In terms of the touring, it couldn't have really gone more awry. But but I think actually, you know what, like having a bit of time to really digest and work out what it is that we're going to do with new music, it's been kind of invaluable this last stretch of time. So what with that first EP release getting the reception it has, which is just so flattering and humbling, I think we're very encouraged now to crack on and make some more music. So yeah, there's been silver linings, no doubt.
Did it take some time to figure out what you guys wanted to do when the pandemic started? Were you hesitant to get in the same room together to practice and stuff?
It was just umming and ahhing, really. I don't think anyone knew in those early days what was going on quite. So we're just sort of reacting as everyone else was.
It sort of became a bubble, like a semi-legal bubble. Yeah, and just, I don't know, hung out. And I don't know. It's probably saved us in some ways, because we're a pretty tardy band when it comes to making music. So it's given us a ton of time, and we've made this massive thing that we'll release at some point.
Okay, I keep hearing about that. And frankly, after doing a bit of research on Gang of Youths, I never really understood the depth and sort of the previous catalog of music until recently. And it's actually quite impressive of where the band has been and the current trajectory of the band. Again, that 3-song EP is out right now called Total Serene. Just watched the video for Unison on the beach. And
Tom has a story about that. Tom has a story about that.
Oh, do you? Please give us the storytellers type of moment as far as background on the video or the song.
It's more my personal experience. I think it's what Max is getting at. Yeah, I learned a lesson that day, Mark. I tell you. So if you picture the scene, it's an early summer's day on a beach in the south of England, on Canberra Sands. And we're all set out there. We've brought all kinds of crazy things to the shoot. There's a piano that we've dragged through the sand, but there was a far greater problem in store for me later that night and subsequent weeks. I managed to get 2nd-degree sunburn from an English sun, an early summer sun, which is quite unbelievable. And it actually left me bedridden for 2.5 weeks. I had to go to Stoke Mandeville, which is a hospital here in the UK that specializes in burns, and I had to go and see a burns specialist and have a temporary skin graft on my right foot. It was that insane.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was a bit awkward.
I was completely laid low, basically. My partner, who's Swedish, arrived 2 days after that shoot just to find me a bandaged wreck, just completely helpless, unable to walk. And we had to cancel our summer holiday. It was just the worst series of events. But I'm pleased to say I'm on the mend. But yeah, my ego's been slightly bruised.
That's I guess a cautionary tale, and I guess we should let everybody know to put sunscreen on, or as they say in London, sun cream. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, my kid watches a lot of Peppa Pig, and she's picking up a British accent, and there's a lot of terms now that I'm now familiar with. Yeah, it's incredible. When they graft skin on your body, do they use like a cadaver skin or something? Dude,
so this is it, right? I don't know how squeamish your listeners are, but they first of all, and this is when it really hit home for me. I was lying on the bed, and it was a hospital bed, and it was all kind of surreal. And then the consultant started measuring up my thigh, for potential don't like take skin from to put on my foot. And that's when it got real, and I suddenly realized, you know, this wasn't quite as funny as I thought it might be. But thankfully, one of the junior doctors then raised her hand and said, you know what, we've got some cadaverous donor skin in the freezer, so just hang tight, I'll go and get that. And so yeah, my beautiful thighs were let off the hook at that point.
That's crazy. Well, now I'm going to go back and watch that Unison video just for fun.
Dude, so much
yeah,
given
exactly.
Like 20 seconds of airtime, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
How beautiful, how gorgeous Samoan frontman, just like it's just him, and then it's like me, Tom, Jug, and Dom for like 20 seconds. But he gave us all, listeners.
That's a sacrifice to the rock and roll gods.
Absolutely. We all suffer for our art.
No kidding. Let's talk about the content real quick of that particular song. It's been said that I guess David from the band, or is it Dave?
Either
or, yeah.
Either one. He has been really interested in the music of the indigenous people from the Pacific Islands, and it's been said that there's some samples of some previously recorded music in that particular song. Is that true? How did that come about? And also, I guess a side note, question B, this whole record, this whole EP, sort of self-produced by you guys?
Yeah. So I'll take the first bit, Tommy, and then hand to you. So basically, David's from Samoa. His father was fully Samoan, and he's sort of been journeying on discovery around, you know, the culture of where he came from, and he's really obsessed with Pacific Islander music. So we found this guy through a guy who did co-produce one of the tracks on the record. Everything else is basically produced by us. He went to the Pacific Islands. His name was David Fanshawe, and he recorded, what do you reckon, Tom? Like thousands of tapes.
An incredible treasure trove of material.
Basically, Cook Islands, Samoa, Fiji. And so most of that sample was from the Penrhyn Islands, which is near the Cook Islands, I think. We've just been enchanted with it and putting it to music and working with it. And we've got to know his family because he's passed away, sadly, but what an absolute contribution to keep all of that music.
So they were just happy to provide all that content.
Yeah, I think it was a journey for them. Like they don't just sign off on anything. Obviously, it's highly precious indigenous music, and I think it's made more. It's in some ways validated because it's Dave's own story as a Pacific Islander, and so they were excited to have a young Pacific Islander man wanting to make modern rock record using their father's and husband's work. So but it's honestly I think, Tom, you should take over after this, but I think it's just beautiful. Like you put music to this stuff and it just adds this, what I like to call umami, like this soul to the thing. And it's really transformed our whole album. But you go, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, just to add to what Matt said, this guy is David Fanshawe. So he's actually an Englishman. And we were fortunate enough to go out to his widow and his daughter's house out in the Malvern Hills in the west of England. And it is literally like walking into a treasure chest. You just go in, it's very unassuming, very beautiful house. And you go downstairs to the basement and they've just got the whole archive. So all of his original cassettes, he recorded he recorded material from, I think, early 60s to late 80s.
The islands was he did African Sanctus, so all across Africa in the early 70s, and this was late 70s, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, this music already spoke so much on in musical terms to us that, we wanted to include it on as many tracks as possible because it really added a vibrancy to what we're trying to do. But then to meet the people, the family behind it was next level of involvement.
Yeah,
that's even more special, I think.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
And actually Jane, his wife, his wife came to our show. We had a show in London last week, and she came, and we didn't actually see her in all the kerfuffle, but she wrote a really sweet message, and like, yeah, it was a really touching moment.
I think for David, it was like,
yeah, and so then, yeah.
I was saying, Tom, I think for Dave Fanshawe, it's like the whole point was to like preserve it. So to have, it's like a full circle thing, you know what I mean? To have a bunch of kids go out to her house and be like, hey, can we like tastefully use your husband's music? Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels cool to be a part of. I feel honestly just lucky, man. Like just feel lucky to be in a band doing it, and lucky to have Dave as a front man who's like passionate about bringing that, something that we wouldn't have been able to do obviously without him.
Yeah.
Leading it. And yeah, it's just been really neat.
As far as producing the new EP, as well as I guess a new full-length album, which should be released eventually, from what I'm gathering, you guys have your own studio that you just hunker down in somewhere in London?
We do. I'm actually sat right outside it now, and the other fellas are in there working on a new tune. Sounds actually quite good. So
no kidding.
I just duck out the studio more often.
I had read that a new album got scrapped maybe once or twice, and then maybe you ultimately decided to release this 3-song EP. Was that the case?
I don't know. Maybe Max knows more about that than I do.
I don't know if I can see. I can see like the word scrapped. It's not so much scrapped as re-recorded. Like we kind of did the like fancy studio route. You know what I mean? Which is expensive and stressful in a city like London. And then we kind of were like, this isn't feeling right, and did our own thing. And then it's kind of come together. So I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, some songs, Angel 8th Avenue was probably about the 15th version of that song. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas Unison sort of came together really quick. So it's just been, there's songs that will be on the album, I think, that are 2 years in the making, and then there's other ones that have just come together in like 2 days. So it's like, it's a kind of a, but I think that just the freedom to do our own thing is, we've realized, we've learned finally after all that money and time that that's sort of how we do it, because you can kind of just do the stupidest idea ever for half a morning, just with a couple of you, get a coffee and just try something absolutely stupid. And then half the time it's like, wow, that was terrible. Let's move on with our lives. Or sometimes it's kind of genius. So, but that you don't do that stuff when there's like a fancy producer and you don't want to look like an idiot.
Right. But either way, I imagine it's painstaking to record and arduous and difficult sometimes, just sort of pining over each and every decision. I took a crack at it several years ago, or even doing voiceover work for the radio station, it could get time consuming and a little bit difficult at times. Max, did the band relocate to London because you guys got too big in Australia? And how big is the band in Australia?
It's the only market where we're like a full-on band that most people know. Yeah, that's how I describe it. Whereas everywhere else, we're like fighting. I feel like we've toured America like 100 times. And it's sort of grown a very slow, beautiful build of dedicated people that, if you're listening, thank you for coming to our gigs. Whereas Australia is sort of more of the full rock star treatment. It's funny actually oscillating between the touring, because you kind of go from no sound check, rock up, from a nice hotel,
right,
that to like lugging shit out of the back of a van. Well, it's not, we're above van now. Like we're a bus band, thank God, pretty much everywhere now, but it's definitely been a slow build everywhere else, and Australia is really good for us.
Yeah.
But no, we moved like for a bunch of reasons, man. I think you don't grow up in Australia wanting to play, for the Sydney Kings or whatever. You want to play for the LA Lakers, you know what I mean? Like you want to be in the major leagues. Or, Manchester United, to overdo the analogy in the English
sport. See what sport is the Sydney Kings?
Oh, I just thought of a shitty basketball team.
It's a basketball team. See, I don't know.
No, but so the point is, like, I think there's on some level it was like just wanting to try our hand overseas, and then also our lead singer, not our lead singer, our guitar player Jung, was getting kicked out of Australia because his visa situation was complex, so we literally couldn't be there anymore, which is kind of ironic, considering that we're an Aussie band. But we were an Aussie band. So we came to England, and yeah, it's been perfect. Worked out well. We found Tom, stole him from Mumford & Sons. So,
yeah, well, we're here to sort of, I mean, you guys are already sort of well established, but we're here to help sort of break the band in the United States. And God willing, hopefully it will work out where next time you sweep through Southern California, you could maybe pay us a visit, play live on the radio, or something like that.
Do that, yeah. Thanks so much, bro, for playing our stuff.
Yeah,
my pleasure. Now that I know you guys personally, it adds a whole nother dimension to the music and me talking about it on the radio, you know, explaining our listeners what Gang of Youths is really all about. Again, gangofyouths.com. The merch and the records are available on the website. Total Serene is the brand new EP. So, Tom, a few years back, I saw Mumford & Sons do an underplay at the Roxy in Los Angeles. Would you have been there?
I was there.
No.
From memory, that was quite a star-studded event from memory, wasn't it? That one?
I mean,
wasn't that Mark Hoppus night? We did a cover of All Small Things or something. I can't quite. Yeah.
That I don't recall. It's all a blur at this point for me.
Night, Tom?
I trust your memory over mine, Mark.
No, I think it was when Mumford & Sons, wasn't it when they went electric and it played all new stuff, no acoustic, no banjo or anything.
Right, you're right. It was that one.
Right.
Yeah.
But
that's
it was
exactly when I joined. It was, yeah. I remember getting a team talk before the show from David Beckham in the dressing room, which was quite
kidding
a
me.
My England captain. Yeah, telling me to go out and have fun.
My captain. Pretty bad speech, right, Tom? You told me
it was hilariously awful, but it was still coming out David Beckham's mouth. So yeah, golden balls himself. Yeah,
maybe I'll just leave that there. Pleasure to talk to you guys. Anything else to sort of touch on before we kind of wrap it up and let you all do? You know, so it's almost 10:30 my time here in Los Angeles. What time is it over by you guys?
It's actually 6:30 p.m. here.
Incredible.
Yeah. Go figure.
Right. Anything else to touch on to the general public who might not be familiar with Gang of Youths type yet or quite yet?
Just thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And dude, thanks so much. Like Mark, thanks, bro, for having us and your support. We'll come and we'll have a beer with you and bang something out. When we're in California next.
Yeah, we must. Yeah.
I could use a night out. I'm telling you guys. So
bro,
yeah, I wouldn't mind one too.
Oh, you need to meet Tour Tom, bro. That's the last thing we should say. Tour Tom. Tom on tour is another thing. Like this posh Mr. Darcy British exterior is just fades away.
It's just desperate for a Californian dive bar. I'll be there.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
88.5 FM, KCSN, and KCSN HD1 Northridge, Los Angeles. KSBR and KSBR HD1 Mission Viejo. A service of California State University Northridge and Saddleback College. Member-supported public radio. Streaming on the web at 885fm.org.